Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to Adrian's Digital Basement 2. I'm up in my office, so I apologize about the echo and the bad lighting, but I have the Apple Lisa on my desk, and I didn't want to bring this thing downstairs for this video, which is why we're recording up here. So the reason why I had the Lisa out is I wanted to show off a new piece of software for the Lisa. When Apple launched the Lisa in 1983, it launched with an operating system called LOS, or Lisa Office System. And while it looks Macintosh-ish, obviously this came out before the Macintosh did, so therefore it has a little bit of a different paradigm that most people are going to be used to if you've ever used a Macintosh. And as an example, we have Lisa Calc, which I'm pretty sure is like a spreadsheet. And I think this is the application, and then we have Lisa Calc Paper. So if you're going to be wanting to create a spreadsheet, you double click on it, and now you have an extra sheet of paper. Notice it says 1-1. I don't know if that's just sheet 1 of 1 that I've torn off from the stationery pad, or this is a date. Either way, this is our fresh spreadsheet, and now if we double click it, this will load Lisa Calc Paper, which we can rename to, Lisa Calc, well, we could have renamed it from Paper to Adrian or whatever. And this should load the spreadsheet. Now this is the paradigm of the entire Lisa operating system. Originally, this would have had a spreadsheet, an object-oriented paint program, a terminal program, word processor, and like maybe 1 or 2 other applications. And the interesting thing about this is if we click on the desk menu, we can see that there's our paper application that's open. We can open up preferences. And this is truly a multitasking operating system. It is cooperative, therefore, it's not like everything is running preemptively in the background, but it does allow you to switch between these different pieces of paper. And you can see how slow this machine is, 5 megahertz, 68,000. And even moving the window, look at, did you see how slow that was? Wow, yeah, it's slow, it's slow. Anyhow, these built-in applications for the Lisa meant that out of the box you had a pretty good experience because you had a machine that you could use for all of your normal office tasks. Now, one of the problems with the Lisa is that very quickly, in next year after it came out, the Macintosh was released, and it was more of a commercial success. So very quickly, the Macintosh ended up having much more software available for it. And therefore, Lisa users, I think, felt like they were left out a little bit because this already came bundled with a whole Office system suite, essentially. As far as I'm aware, there wasn't a whole lot of third-party software for the Lisa. There was some. A lot of it's been lost to time, but there wasn't really a whole lot of it. So therefore, most users who had a Lisa ended up installing something called MacWorks on their Lisa that allowed them to use, let's get this in focus a little bit, allowed them to use Macintosh software on their Lisa. And that's what happened to this Lisa. And I can tell this because you can maybe just make it out on the camera, but there's burn-in on the screen of Mac Paint, the bitmap paint program. And I don't know why that is burned in on the screen, like they just ran this and left it forever. Maybe this was on display for kids to play with. So we have the canvas area here, the toolbar area there, there's the patterns and textures there. And then, well, it's hard to see now because the menu bar is, has stuff written on it, but if you have an all-white screen, you can see that there's even an Apple logo and the file menu and stuff burned in from when this was running MacWorks. So most Lisas ended up just using MacWorks until these things were retired and probably someone upgraded to a better version of the Macintosh that was obviously faster. Because at 5 megahertz with Macintosh OS, this was slower than the Mac 128, Mac 512, and Mac Plus. And of course, the other negative about the Lisa is the maximum RAM this thing supports, at least without mods, is 2 megabytes. So in 2026, if you have one of these Lisas, pretty much the only thing you can ever do with it is either run Macintosh operating systems on it, like System 6, slowly, because this thing's only 5 megahertz, or you can run Lisa OS or LOS, which is what this is. But the problem is you really have no applications. You just have the built-in applications. And oddly enough, I happen to have loaded a hard drive image off the emulator that only has the spreadsheet on it. I don't know why the other programs aren't on here, but they're not. Well, with the recent release of Alex the Cat's, or Alex Anderson McLeod's Lisa FPGA board, which is an entire Lisa re-implemented inside an Arctic 7 FPGA, with all the niceties of having, for instance, an HDMI for a modern monitor and USB, so you don't need to have the special Lisa keyboard or keyboard adapter like I have, and you can just use a normal USB mouse as opposed to like a Macintosh or Lisa mouse, plus this is powered off USB-C. This board, which is available for $350, although I think they're all out of stock at this point, this allows you to basically replace this whole Lisa with just this one thing. Well, I was hoping that this would get more Lisas into more people's hands, and maybe we would start to have software available for this thing. And that actually is starting to already happen. Now I have a couple floppy drive images here. It's really just the same thing. But on here, I think is what we can call one of the first games for the Apple Lisa, because I don't think any games were ever made for this Lisa. I mean, it's hard to know because we don't really know what software was ever made for this thing back in the day, but obviously the built-in suites, which is just Office related, there was no games. And then whatever programs were probably made for this, and there were some that we were aware of, plus there was OSs, like you get a Unix OS to run on this thing and stuff like that. Maybe there were command line games, but as far as we're aware, there were never any graphical games for this. Well, luckily, all of the development environment stuff does exist for the Lisa. It's out there, and it's all Pascal based. So I think this is a new game written in Pascal for the Lisa. So what I wanted to demonstrate in this video is maybe the first ever game seen for the Apple Lisa, running on real hardware off a real floppy disk here, 400K floppy disk here. Let's stick this in and let's see if this actually works. I have not tested any of this, by the way, so this is going to be a first for me and a first for you to watch this. And let me get the camera resituated. Right, okay, so we'll just close this. We don't need this right now. And we'll put the disk in, click, and let's see if this actually comes up. I wrote this on my grease weasel. Oh yes, there it is. Minesweeper. So, Minesweeper, yes, the first Lisa game potentially. Let's see if this runs on real hardware. Now, this is not the most exciting game in the world, of course, but we have to think about the fact that this is a slow computer. And there it is. So let's check out the menus. So that's just the desk menu. That's the desk as in like this is our virtual office. Put aside Minesweeper. You can print, I think. We got new game, flag mode, best times, reset best times, level, and we have custom level. Well, let's just see if this thing works as expected. Okay, yes. Now we have flag mode, which I would want to use. If you're familiar with Minesweep, the idea is we're trying to find all of the mines that are on the game board, and we need to clear everything else that's not a mine. Now I mean, I'm not the best player in the world, but I do know how to play this. So what this one is telling us, well, what all of these ones are telling us is on one of the faces that this box is touching has a mine. So that means there's a possibility of 8 spaces, because any space around it, including diagonal, have a mine in them. Well, we can tell by looking at this pattern that we know the mine is right there, where the mouse pointer is. And the reason why is because there is only one space that's not been uncovered. Like anything that's clear white here, or a number, has been already uncovered. Anything that's shaded still potentially has a mine. Well, this one and this one, we can't tell if the mine is here or here. It could be either one of those, because each one of these faces 2 uncovered spaces. So that one, you know, that, so on and so forth. And this number 1, those only are touching 1 uncovered space. So the question is, I wonder if I can hold down a key, like a modifier. I'm going to hold down the Option or the Apple key. Oh, there we go. I was able to flag that. And if I click it again, oh good, we get a question mark. Sometimes you need a question mark to actually just kind of tell you to go back and look at it. So we can cycle through these. Now if I click this, what's going to happen? Let's see, can I click it? Maybe if it's not flagged, I can click it. Okay, so there we go. That was actually a mine. I knew that was a mine because obviously this one here diagonally tells us that's a mine. So I clicked it, it explodes. That means all the other mines explode and the game is over. Now we click this and it gives us a fresh board, and we know we have 10 mines to clear. Okay, so let's see if I can do this. So I know that that one is a mine, right? Because of the diagonal space here is telling us that's a mine. But I know this one is not, because this is a mine. We know this is a mine. So that means this one is represented by that one is represented by that one. And because this one and this one is represented by the mine that I've already flagged, this cannot be a mine. So I just click it, and I know all of these ones are satisfied by that one. So none of these can be mines. So I can clear them all. So that there, diagonal, same thing. And I know that's not a mine. Now that 2 tells us that that's a mine and that's a mine. So I'm going to flag that. Now this 2 is already satisfied by those 2. So that means none of those are mines. And we move down here, same thing. That's a mine, because we can go diagonally, but then I know that this one's not a mine, and I can clear all of these. Now 3, okay, so this is telling us that that's a mine and that's a mine, because there are only 3 possible spaces that are not covered, or that are still covered, I mean. And of course the 3 is telling us that, well, all 3 of those have to be mines. Now this 2 tells us it's already satisfied by those, so that means all of these are not mines. And then we have a 2 here, so we know that's a mine. Okay, now the 4 is a bit tricky because we have more than 4 spaces. We have 5 spaces where there could be a mine. Well, 3 of them are already taken care of, but these 2 we just don't know. Now here's where this 4 helps us, because we have that one, that's a mine, that's a mine, that's a mine. And that tells us now that this 4 is satisfied, so that's not a mine. This 3 is already satisfied because we have 3 flags, so that's not a mine. This 3 is satisfied because those are, and there we go. You won. You swept 10 mines in 0 seconds. Okay, well, we have a little bit of a bug there. Obviously, it was more than 0 seconds. And we can type in my name. Oh, we got a little bit of a bug there as well. Okay, so I'll put in my name. And, you know, hey, look, I'm not the first person to potentially play this game. Where do we see best times? Here we go. Adrian, 0 seconds. Yes, that is such a great time. Now, that was a beginner level, which is super easy, but we can do it again. Now, funny thing is, this is modeled after the Windows version. See the happy face there? If we click on one of these, well, it doesn't really change, but I'm holding down the mouse button, but notice he's like, has the O, because I could be clicking on a mine. You have to clear, you know, open the board, so to speak. So when I let go, it clears it. Now he's back to a happy face. So we can clear this again pretty quickly. And let's do this fast. Let's see how fast I can go. Let's see. Okay, so that one is clear. So this is where we get tricky, because this 2 could be, you know, there could be a mine there and there could be a mine there, and that would satisfy both of those 2s. So we have to try to clear this in a way. Let's see here. That's fine. That's this. So this, we're kind of stuck right here. We have to guess. There's no other way around this. This 3 tells us, and that 1 really, there could be a mine there or there. So we just, there's no way to know. So I guessed, and I guessed wrong. So even on the most beginner level, occasionally you have to guess, and that's all you can do. So let's see here, how fast can I go? I'm not, again, the most expert player in the world. So that's that, that's that, that's that, that's that, that, 2, 2, that means this and that. There we go. So I would have had a better time than that first level. Now let's try the other more advanced levels. Wow, the Lisa is, it's not a speedy computer, that's for sure. Not at all. Same thing going on here. So we can kind of clear some of this stuff, but right away we get stuck with some more difficult things. This is, that's that, like that. So this 2, for instance, has to be like that. And that's clear. And that 1 satisfied already by there. Same with all of this stuff. So we can kind of clear that away like that. Okay, so I'm just trying to think here. 1. So we're kind of stuck here. See, so right here, I don't think there's a way for me to know where the mines are over here. That's annoying. Now, you start to learn when you get better at this game that there are patterns, like 2, 1, 1, 2 maybe means that you could tell where the mine is or not. I certainly can't there, but as you clear more of the board, it's possible we might be able to solve that by getting close to it. Okay, so let's just clear this stuff here. 1, this is all good. This is good. Oh, look, we see we cleared a whole chunk there. That's this, there. That's this. Not a mine. Let's see here. This is a mine, so that's not a mine. 3, that's already satisfied, so that means that is like so. This is, and believe me, like I said, there are people who are 1,000 times better at this game. But I did learn how to play it back in the day with Microsoft Windows. And that's satisfied, that's satisfied, 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 satisfied. This has to be like that. This is satisfied. Okay, so this is like this is like this, That means that's good. And then that we can clear this stuff away, including that. And this. So this is already satisfied. Okay, so this is where we get tricky because, okay, so this 2, that has to be a bomb there. So that means that the 3 is satisfied. Oh, see, I made a mistake because I said that that one was satisfied, but, or it was a bomb because of the 2, but there were 2 right there that it was satisfied. And down here, okay, so I should have known. Yeah, I would have been able to solve this. I don't know what I was saying before. Maybe I hadn't cleared this area yet, but obviously this 2 right here told us that that was a mine. And then that right away would allow us to clear this stuff. And then this 2, yeah, I think I would have been able to fix to get this. Oh, you know what I wouldn't have been able to solve? This 2 would have told me that that was a mine. But the issue is, okay, yeah, no, I would have been able to solve it because I knew that wouldn't have been a mine. And the 3, this 3, the one on the right, meant that one was, and then that would let me clear that. So yeah, okay. Well, let's see what we get for expert. It just raises the number of mines. Looks like we have 99 now. Oh, the sluggishness, the sluggishness. It starts to become a challenge, and this game is kind of fun. It's just a really good time waster because, you know, it's all about using your mind, and you saw me make a mistake there because I was kind of rushing through it, and it's just kind of how it goes, and it gets tricky. So, you know, you can clear those away, but right away I'm like, you know, when you have this many mines, it gets difficult because 2, 3, I mean, like, there's no way for me to really know. For instance, this is where you put the question marks. Is it there or is it there? Because that 2 would be satisfied if it was there. But the thing is, if it wasn't there, that 2 would be satisfied by this. Then we have this and that. Those would be good. But for instance, there could be one over here that satisfied that number 2. Because this 2 doesn't touch it. Oh, well, like I just guessed. So right there, that tells us that this one is definitely a mine. And that means that this one is not. And then right away we can kind of clear this stuff away from this 1. Ones are your friend. Number 3, again, we're sort of stuck. So let's see here. If this was 1, then that 2 would be satisfied, right? 3, 2. You're trying to think if you flag 1 as a mine and you're doing it incorrectly, and it would like change one of these to a 4 or a number that wouldn't be possible. So that's the whole point of this. So again, like I don't think anything really stands out here as obvious, like this has to be a mine. Okay, here we go. There we go. We can use this 1 to kind of clear stuff away a little bit. So that means that this for sure is 1. And that means we can clear these. And anytime there's 1s, we can clear everything away. And we know that's good, so that's this. And we know that that's 2. Yeah, so that 3, no, that 3 is not satisfied necessarily. But we can kind of clear this stuff away. And, So I cleared a little bit, but, okay, well, I know this 2 is satisfied by that. So that means this one can't be, and that one has to be, because this 2 is touching those 2, and then this has to be, and then these are all clearable right here. And look at this 2. Okay, so that has to be 1 there. So that means this is not, and that means this 3, this one right here, is satisfied by those 3, so we can clear everything away from that, and this 1 automatically means we can clear everything away from it. This 3 is only touching 3 squares, and that 2 is satisfied, so it has to be there. And that 2 is satisfied, so we can clear those away. And 4, okay, so 3. So this 3 here has to be 1 there. So now this 4 has 3 touching it, but there are 2 more spaces that I'm not sure about. As for this 3, it's hard to tell because there are 2 empty spaces. And this 2. Now these are the patterns I was talking about that people start to recognize once they played this game enough. They know all this stuff. 2, I can't clear there. 3, can't clear there for sure. Yeah, there definitely are patterns. When you see stuff like this, you're like, oh, well, that 3 is touching 2. So, you know, it's possible it could be here or here. So we'll put question marks. But then you can look at these 1s and 2s to kind of know, oh, well, it has to be, for instance, here. I don't know. Let's just do it. Okay, I guessed. That's not right. That cannot be 1. Okay, so that has to be 1. That has to be 1. That's not 1. This has to be 1. That satisfies that, so that's not 1. We can clear these away. Clear this stuff away. This one's already touching 1. That one's touching 1. So this 3 is only touching 3 total, so it has to be like that. This 2 is touching. That 2 is satisfied. Okay. Okay, so this 3 right here, we can know that's for sure. That one is already good now. This is all good, so we can clear this stuff away. That has to be 1, so that 2 is satisfied. That 1 is satisfied. We can clear these away. That 2 is satisfied. Then that's not right. This is not a bomb. Okay, and this is also good. Then this, because that 2 is now satisfied. This 2 is now satisfied. Let me just make sure that I am not screwing this up. Okay, so that one's good. So that 2 is satisfied. So that means this has to be 1 because there's a 2 there. That's not 1 because there was a 1 there. So that 2 is satisfied. We can clear that. Oh, there's a 1 there. We can clear that stuff away. So this is what it is. You're just sort of chipping away at it. So this 2 is there. So it only touches 2. That means that's not 1. There's a 1 here. 3. So that has to be like that. That has to be like that. This is where we're getting a bit tricky because, again, this 3 down here, it could be there, could be there. That's good. Let's see here, 2. That 2 is satisfied. 3 has to be like that. 2, this is only touching 2 spaces. That 3 is now satisfied. So we can clear those away. This 2 is already satisfied, so that's good. Okay, so this 2 here means that has to be 1. That means that 2 is satisfied. So that 2 is good. 2, okay, I'm just trying to think here. Not sure there. Could be either one of those for 3, right? 4s aren't great. Okay, so this 3 is satisfied. So that 4 is not telling us anything either. Okay, this 2 is good. That's already satisfied. So we know that these are clearable right here and here and here and here. So 2, that's not really helpful there. I mean, this is a scintillating content, I know. I know, it's just so exciting to watch this. Let's see what can I clear? What can I clear? Here we go. That 3 is touching 2. So I'm not sure. Okay, here we go. That has to be 1. That one is satisfied. This one is satisfied now. It's still satisfied. That has to be like that. That is satisfied. I don't know if that's the right word, but I'm using it anyways. So I cleared a little bit more of the game. Anyhow, okay, well, I could go on forever, obviously, but there is a functional game that, you know, needs a few bug fixes and stuff, but a functional game for LOS. And I do recommend, if you have an access to Minesweeper on like an old version of Windows, or of course there's many web versions of this, or modern ports, I highly recommend playing this game. It is kind of addicting once you kind of get the hang of it, and every game board is completely randomized, and it's just super fun. Now, we can go to custom, by the way. I didn't show this, and maybe it's hard to see. Oh, we got a little bit of a bug there. Oh no, it came back. You can set the number of mines, the width, and the height to make it as hard as you can go. And of course, this is expert level, expert for whatever like the settings are for this particular game. I don't think this is really that expert. I think people who are really good at this game play it at a much higher level than even I do, and of course they go much faster. But the way that this works is fully functional to me, other than those small like user interface bugs. The way you can use the Apple key, well, which is Command key on this Mac keyboard, to select is perfect. It really works well. The gameplay, I have no complaints. Okay, I see what's wrong, by the way, is there's supposed to be a timer here that counts down, and that tells you, or counts up, how many seconds it takes to complete the level, and it's stuck at 0. So that's why it says you finish the level in 0 seconds. Now, from my understanding, one thing you can do as well is you can copy the game board, and I think it takes an image of the game board, and then you can paste it into other applications. Now, unfortunately, wow, this is really slow. I don't know, it takes that long just to copy. Let's see, well, we have the clipboard. Let's open the clipboard first of all. I think that's like, it's like the Macintosh had a similar thing. Oh, there it is. Oh boy, it's so slow, it's so slow. As far as I'm aware, this does work. I can't expand the clipboard. It looks like it's as small as that, but apparently you can paste this into other applications. Do I have anything open right now? I do not. Let's try opening Lisa Calc, which seems to be the only application that's on this hard drive image. And let's see if I can paste my Minesweeper game into a spreadsheet. Oddly, the floppy disk is accessing. I don't know why. There's nothing on there except for Minesweeper. So I can only cut and copy. I cannot paste. And let's just double check that we still have Minesweeper in our clipboard. We do. So interesting that Lisa Calc must only accept numbers because there's no way to paste. But I was assured that if we had a Word document or a word processing document, we could paste that in. And I was also assured, if we open up Minesweeper again, really using Lisa is an exercise in patience, everyone. I thought I clicked on Minesweeper. Maybe I didn't. Okay, that's not the program. That's the window for the disk. Here we go. Okay, so here's the game board. I was assured the other thing that does work is you can print. So let's print. I don't have a printer hooked up, of course. I think it's configured for an image writer. And theoretically, it would print our game board, which would be, yo, look how great my thing was. We can't actually print because there's no image writer printer hooked up, and I don't have an image writer. And before anyone asked, I don't want an image writer either. I have a few dot matrix printers that are Epson printers, and those are perfectly good for the rest of my life. I'm not a fan of the image writer printers. I am very much not. And I think actually this does support Epson printers, but my Epson printer, I'm trying to think, I think it's a parallel printer, and the parallel port on here is of course used already for the hard drive emulator. Yeah, using Lisa is slow, and that's the thing about Alex's board here. This thing can run at like almost 3.5 times the speed, and it is a dramatic improvement. Yeah, image writer slash DMP. How do we change this? Install device driver? Okay, it says printers, modem, serial, daisy wheel, image writer. Those are our only choices, unless you can click install device driver, and we can load a driver for the Epson. Maybe that was something that was made, or maybe that's something that can be made for this, and then we could print graphically on an Epson printer. How cool would that be? I would love that. So there we go. That's what I wanted to show. I wanted to show there is now a game for the Apple Lisa, and I will put a link to this down in the description below. So if you have a Lisa, you can download this yourself. This is actually a DC42 disk image. That would be disk copy 42 for the Macintosh. And actually I misspoke. I said that I made this disk using my grease weasel, but I actually used a Macintosh to make it because I first tried to write the image on my grease weasel and it didn't seem to like making a Lisa disk image. I've made Mac disk images before and that works fine, but for some reason on the Lisa it created a disk that it didn't really work. So actually what this is something I did write on the grease weasel, and I used a script that a friend sent me that hopefully converted the disk copy 42 image to something that the grease weasel could write. So I'm very slowly going to close all the windows and I'm going to eject this disk, the floppy disk for Minesweeper, and I'm going to try this grease weasel one. And if this does work, then I will put the file for this in the description below, so you can also make convert a disk copy 42 image to something that the grease weasel can write. That way you can use a modern computer to write it. So let's see what happens. Lisa is putting away that disk. Yes, you did put it away. Thank you, Lisa. Is this disk gonna work? It works as well. All right. Well, good. Well, then I will link to that script. Disk copy 42 to, I think, SCP. That was the script. It was a Python script, and it successfully made a disk that works on the Lisa. Cool. So I don't have to use the Macintosh anymore with disk copy 42. Anyhow, that's going to be it for this video. Thank you very much for watching. I think it's pretty exciting. I think this is just the beginning of new software that's going to be coming out for the Lisa. I will report the bugs that are in this, so potentially by the time you see this, if you go to download this game for your Lisa or your Lisa emulator board, that it will have those small, tiny bugs fixed. But from a gameplay perspective, other than the timer not working and that high score stuff being kind of weird looking, it seems to work perfectly. And that is cool. That is so cool. How exciting. What an exciting time that we have a full Lisa emulator available. Although, unfortunately, I think these are out of stock everywhere, so you can't get those at the moment. But we also have new software to run on freaking original hardware. First new piece of software for the Lisa in like how long? I mean, I know there's been the odd thing, like there's a Mandelbrot generator that someone made and a few other small things, but a fully functional LOS application here, that is so cool. Anyhow, that's going to be it for this video. Thanks to my supporters. Thank you to my subscribers. Thank you to you. And I guess that's going to be that. So stay healthy, stay safe. I'll see you next time. Bye.